Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu had, in a national broadcast last night, told Nigerians that his personal intervention and entreaties to all parties yielded no results that may have inched towards lasting peace. Uppermost on his mind was the safety of lives and the preservation of democratic institutions, the security of life and property. Our State House correspondent recapped the highlights of the presidential address.
Political battle that has defied several solutions thrown at it, including the judgment of the Supreme Court. President Bola Tinubu wades in, wielding the big stick. He invoked the provision of Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State.
By this declaration, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Oju, and all elected members of the House of Assembly state are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months. In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Invokes Ibas, retired, as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state and the interests of the good people of Rivers State.
The escalating tension in the Niger Delta state left the president with no choice but to suspend Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the State House of Assembly for 6 months. The president also admitted that his personal efforts to mediate and broker a peace deal were largely ignored.
I'm also aware that many well-meaning Nigerians, leaders of thought, and patriotic groups have also intervened at various times with the best of intentions to resolve the matter, but all their efforts were also to no avail. Still, I thank them.
The Supreme Court, in its verdict, likened the actions of the now suspended governor of Rivers State, who demolished the State House of Assembly and continued governing without the legislature, to those of a despot. Meanwhile, growing security concerns, particularly the recent sabotage of a crude oil pipeline, are a major concern for President Bola Tinubu as he seeks to ramp up crude oil production and grow the economy.
The latest security report made available to me show that between yesterday and today, there have been disturbing incidents of vandalization of pipelines by some militants without governor taking any action to curtail them.
Now, retired Vice Admiral Invokes Ibas has been saddled with the task of steering the affairs of Rivers State in the meantime. But there is a caveat to the exercise of his powers as sole administrator.
The administrator will not make any new laws. He will, however, be free to formulate regulations and may be found necessary to do his job, but such regulations will need to be considered and approved by the Federal Executive Council and promoted by the President for the state.
President Bola Tinubu disclosed that this declaration has been published in the Federal Gazette, a copy of which has been forwarded to the National Assembly in accordance with the Constitution. It remains to be seen how calm will be restored to a state where tensions continue to escalate. But the president's directive is clear, and his order is final. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Our correspondent Uche Okoro is monitoring the situation in Rivers State and joins me now on the Media News. Uche, it's hours after the pronouncement by President Bola Tinubu of a state of emergency in Rivers State. What's the mood there?
As you can see behind me, I'm still back at the entrance of the government house in Port Harcourt. I'll start to answer your question from what is happening here. The mood here is very calm. Last night there was a massive deployment of military personnel to this place, even though they didn't stay the night. They made their exits after a short while stationed here. But as you can see behind me, the government house is calm. The atmosphere here is calm, even though there were a lot of concerns that this was going to lead to some form of protests by supporters of the governor, but we haven't seen any of that happen here at the government house in Port Harcourt. The mood in the city is very calm. very, very calm, I must say. I've moved around different parts of the capital city, and I can tell you that everyone is going about their normal business as though nothing as serious as a state of emergency has been declared. There's been no deployment of military personnel on the streets, aside the usual police checkpoints and stop and search points in different parts of the city. It's business as usual so far. People have gone to work, people are going about their businesses, commercial vehicles are plying the roads, private vehicles as well are plying the roads. So it's business as usual. Everywhere is calm here in the city of Port Harcourt. The mood is calm here.
But since the announcement of retired Vice Admiral Invokes as sole administrator of River State, has he made his arrival? Has he arrived in the state? Have we heard anything about him, and what will be happening from his end?
We haven't heard anything about that. The man who has been appointed as administrator hasn't. I don't know if he's yet in River State or if he has arrived Port Harcourt. We do not know. Yesterday, when I cited the presence of the military personnel here at the entrance, I stayed put to fish for more information to see if those were escort vehicles of the former chief of the naval staff. I didn't get that information. As I speak to you, there is no information at my disposal on the whereabouts of the nominated administrator in this state of emergency. But I can tell you that there is the normal and usual deployment of security personnel stationed inside the government's house, and for those whose eyes are pretty sharp, you'll be able to see that there are just a handful of military personnel stationed at the gate. Just a handful of military personnel right now stationed at the gate of the government house. Just one truck. I can see just one military patrol vehicle stationed at the gate. No military presence, I'm told, inside the government's house itself, aside the usual presence of police officers and personnel of the Department of State Services. I'm also told that the governor himself is also inside the government's house right now as we speak.
All right, Uche, we thank you very much for that update for us from Port Harcourt, the River State capital. Now, since this declaration, many reactions have poured in from civil society, the opposition, social commentators, and the Nigerian Bar Association. In a statement signed by its president, Alpha Mosigwe, the NBA says the emergency declaration does not automatically dissolve or suspend elected state governments, asking the National Assembly to reject any unconstitutional attempt to ratify the suspension of Siminalayi Fubara as governor of Rivers State. It said President Bola Tinubu's suspension of Governor Fubara is illegal and a dangerous affront to the country's democracy. The association, in a statement by its president, Alpha Mosigwe, said the law body is gravely concerned by the development, adding that such actions amount to an unconstitutional usurpation of power and the fundamental breach of Nigeria's federal structure. It adds that the 1999 Constitution does not grant the president the power to remove an elected governor, deputy governor, or members of a state legislature under the guise of a state of emergency.